Alright guys, so I reviewed Sleeping Beauty, so I have to review Maleficent, the 2014, I guess reboot, but from a different point of view. It is technically like a reboot because it doesn't do the same movie except for some instances, but it is apart from the original movie, but it's like an alternate thing with like how Maleficent is different in this version. So I don't know what to call this movie. Like, it's kind of a reboot, but it also has things similar to the original, but it's not the original. So I don't know what to call it. But Maleficent, whatever you call it, the movie that came out that tells the story of Maleficent in a different light, in which the narrator of this movie says that the way that the first movie was narrated, like, it's from a different point of view. Like, this is how Maleficent is treated in this movie, and your point of view of Maleficent has changed. And I actually like that the narrator says that like this is going to be a different version of it, and like you're going to look at Maleficent a different way, and this is not how she was interpreted in the original. So I thought that alone makes this a cool movie overall. And Maleficent in this version, which you could argue could be like the other movie, is that she is a fairy, and she lives in this other world, like with these fairies, and she meets the first human she ever meets and falls in love with him. Now everything seems happy and wonderful for Maleficent at first, and she has the three fairies, in this case three pixies, but sometimes they call themselves fairies. And this is my biggest complaint of the movie, is that in the original Sleeping Beauty, like, the three fairies were so fun and entertaining and so likable, and they cared so much for Aurora in the original, and in this one they are idiots. Like, they are the dumbest characters, and they're dumb on purpose to make Maleficent look better. But you could have made them both look good. You could have made the fairies look good as well. And that, to me, is my biggest gripe with this movie, is that they make them look so stupid and so annoying. Like Maleficent does the bare bones dumbest things to mess with them, and like they just fall for it so easily. And you can argue that they're dumb in the case because they're fairies, in which they're not. I don't know if they're like the equivalent of like animals, where like some animals don't have the same brain functions, but like these characters just are not smart. They're so dumb and so bad. I really couldn't stand the fairies in this movie. That's the worst thing overall in this movie for me. And I do like this movie. I do enjoy it. It's just that part of the movie just really pisses me off. Now, I did like little nods of what Maleficent would do to Aurora later that she does with Stefan, where like she has her first kiss at 16 with Stefan, and it's on her 16th birthday, and being wronged by Stefan taking her wings makes sense for her to have the curse on Aurora when she turns 16, and that wasn't told in the original movie. In the original movie, Maleficent just appeared in the movie with no explanation, and then she said that she was not happy that she wasn't invited to the party. But in this, they flesh out the thing that Maleficent and Stefan had a love for each other, and then he stole her wings because he wanted to be king. Because the king, his father, told him, like, if whoever takes the wings from the fairy will become king. And he does that in a selfish way, and Maleficent falls for it and loses her wings because of that. And I really thought that was cool story development that wasn't in the original, but you don't have to have it in the original, but it works very well in this, tying up those loose ends that like you honestly didn't need in the original, but it's cool to see them shown in this version. So I really like that, and her trusting him. I like how much it takes for her to realize that like he's not a good guy. Like he takes her wings after, and it's kind of like a rape allegory. Like it's kind of silly because they don't sleep together, but like they fall asleep together, if that makes sense. And then she wakes up, her wings are gone, and she cries and freaks out. And it's weird because it's like a rape allegory for like this character, even though it's not a real rape it's not a real rape or anything. It's just like, it's weird that like they do that because it's like he took the thing away from her that was hers. And I just thought it was weird that they did that. Like, it's fine, but it's just a weird, like, it makes this story just a woman wronged and has to take revenge against the guy story, which isn't like a thing I don't dislike, but it's just like, I don't know, I wish that there was a better explanation for that than just he took my wings, I'm gonna go get him because he took what was important to me. And I don't know, I just felt like there should have been a better, like, something better than that. And even though I'd rather her be fully evil like the original, I like that it was different and stands on its own with the original, because Angelina Jolie, like, in this movie, she, in terms of like wearing the costume, in terms of how she looks with her facial structure, she fits perfectly as Maleficent. She is so awesome as how she looks as Maleficent. Um, she is really great just how she looks. Like, wearing that iconic suit with the horns is incredible with her wearing it, because she just looks the part. Like, she's a human being that looks very similar to how Maleficent looked in the original. Um, and Angelina Jolie is one of those actresses where, she's hit and miss for me in some of her performances, and in this one there's some moments where she's really silly where I'm just thinking, what, I don't know, like, it just took me out of it. But there are parts where she's really good. It's just like, it's not like she's bad in any way, it's just she just has a couple, like, silly moments in terms of her performance. Like, whenever the the human characters, the knights, go up against her and she screams, "Come no further!" And, like, she says it in a really silly way. But you can argue that it's supposed to be like that, but still, it's odd to me. Just some of her lines are kind of odd. But I feel like it's not like she's doing that on purpose. It's just, I don't know. But she's still good in the movie. She's got great moments in the movie. Now, I really did like her a lot for the most part. And the backstory also of the crow, I think, is really cool, because she's got this character who she turns, like, a crow that she turns into a human, and, like, that human character and her, like, form, like, a friendship in which it feels like if this was in the original version it would make sense too, because she has that bird with her or that crow with her throughout the original movie as well, and it feels like they've had a solid relationship, and it makes sense in this movie again. Like how she wants to curse Aurora in this, it makes sense adding that in. I really do like how they added in that stuff. So I really do like that, and I really do like how we get she uses him as her wings, because her wings are gone. Like, they're literally gone. So she uses him as her wings to go fly around and snoop and figure out everything that she needs to know. And I really like that. And then they recreate the scene from the first from Sleeping Beauty, where, like, it's the scene where the three fairies give Aurora the three gifts whenever she's born on her 16th birthday. And I love this scene in this movie, and it's like the original, but it plays more dastardly, I don't know, like, it's more creepy in this version, because whenever Maleficent appears, you understand in this version that she and Stefan have had this relationship. Stefan stole her wings. She's pissed. She goes in, and the way that she, like the original, in both of these versions, the way that she snily and evilly, like, says to Stefan and his wife, like, I'll give the child a curse, and then she gives the curse of, like, eternal sleep like death. And I really love that scene. In terms of the acting is great, and in terms of, like, her and Stefan and how since you know the backstory now in this version, it's really fantastic, as the way he looks at her like, Maleficent, don't do this, and, like, she doesn't care because he's wronged her. And I do love that scene where they recreate the first movie, and it's really fantastic. And it just builds on having that backstory. I really do love that scene a lot. Now, I do like as well that it's in this movie. It's like Maleficent is misunderstood. Like she's not evil completely, and she doesn't stay that way. She just has like she goes evil because of this person wronging her, and I guess I like that okay, but like I really like this in the movie how Maleficent, whenever Aurora is taken away by the three fairies, Maleficent watches over her the whole time for 16 years, as opposed to the original where like the crow just finds out they're there like 16 years later. And Maleficent in this version watches Aurora grow up from being literally brought that day to that cottage that like the three fairies take her. And I love the fact that Maleficent gains compassion for Aurora. It's actually really sweet and really likable. I really love that. It takes its time too because Maleficent just keeps watching this baby and just doesn't like it because it's a manifestation of like this person that she hates. And I do love the fact that it grows on her like Aurora does. And there's a scene where Maleficent is just out in the woods and Aurora comes up to her, like maybe not even a year old, just goes up to her, smiles, and walks up to her. And Maleficent, I love this acting moment from Angelina Jolie, but Maleficent just says, "Get out of here, go away." And then like what Aurora does is she goes and just hugs her, and then Maleficent just sits there like okay, like I don't know what to think of this, and it's really sweet and endearing, and I really love that. Um, Again, I really do love that she starts to grow compassion towards Aurora, even though she hates what she's from, like her father. Now, and I like that she calls her Beastie. I don't know why. That's funny. It's funny because at first she calls her like that in a way that she resents her, like she resents Aurora, like because she's like she doesn't like her, and then that's her nickname that she calls her throughout, like throughout the whole movie. And I love that it's like a bond that is formed through hatred. I just think that's really cool. And Elle Fanning as Aurora, honestly, I think it's really, really great. Like she's a good actress anyways, but man, in this, she plays that role of Aurora like the original so perfectly, and she's so nice and charming and sweet, and just she really gives off the personality of the original Aurora, and I love that. And I love how you get more of her, because in the original Aurora's in like a couple scenes, and that's it. Like the old original Disney movies were, they weren't like she was the one that was in there the least out of the princess characters in those movies, or in the Disney princess movies in like the 30s to 50s. Now, but I really just love how she plays Aurora. She's really awesome, and I really love how Maleficent, like, whenever, like, the way that Maleficent, she makes this curse, like, she makes the curse, like the original movie, she has the curse of eternal, like, deathly sleep, like, whatever they call it in term, but, like, where Aurora is going to be in a death-like sleep forever, and, like, she'll never wake. And I love the fact that Aurora and Maleficent gain such a friendship and love each other that like Maleficent, who knows knows this is going to happen. It's going to happen when she's 16, and this magic is so strong that Maleficent can't stop it. And I love that scene where Maleficent just tries to break the spell and screams, "I revoke my curse! I revoke my curse!" And like it's too powerful for her because she was so angry in the moment that she used all this power that is basically invincible. Like she can't stop this curse from happening, and I love that. I really love that she gains compassion for Aurora, and then she can't take the curse back. I think that's awesome. And I want to talk about the adult Stefan, who Charlotte Copley plays. He needed a little bit more in terms of like character development, I think, and writing. Like he just kind of goes insane because Maleficent, he knows she's gonna come for him, and you get one scene of dialogue when he's a kid that like it said he was born in like he lives in like a barn, like he doesn't have like a home, but like I feel like I needed more than that to justify this character just going insane and being a total asshole. Like I can understand the idea of him having greed to take Maleficent's wings to become king. But I felt like I needed a little more than that, and there wasn't enough. But he's fine. It's just it's weird. Like I feel like there's more needed to be more with him. So, and his parents were dead. So that's another obvious little trope that makes this character makes you try to feel bad for him. But there isn't much explanation. I mean, it's serviceable, but it's not like great. And I really, really like the scene where Maleficent breaks, like, tells Aurora the truth, like that it's like, and I love the fact that Aurora, and again, the acting is great in this moment because Aurora just says like she starts crying and says, "No, get away from me! You're the evil that consumes this world. Get away from me!" And like, it's such a great moment because you felt so much for these characters and how they became so close. I really do love that scene. That breakdown is just really awesome. And I really love the whole ending where like they go back to the castle and the Maleficent finds a prince, like the original movie, Prince Philip, and she's like, "Oh, okay, true love's first kiss. Let's just bring him to the castle." So she brings him with her whenever Aurora is taken back by the fairies, and Aurora, of course, is going to be cursed. Like she's going to go up to the spindle, the spinning wheel, and touch it, and then go into death-like sleep. So Maleficent takes Philip and starts running on horse, like getting on a horse, trying to get there as quick as she can. But I love the fact that Aurora already is ahead of her, and she's already touched the spindle, and she's already asleep. And that moment where it happens, and Maleficent can tell it just in her body, like she could tell like it's happened, where like the horse stops and she just sits there and holds her chest like she knows it happened, is again a really great moment. And I love that Aurora does go into the death-like sleep like the original, but in this one, Maleficent gets the prince to go up to her and kiss her because it's true love's first kiss, or it's love's first kiss, and he goes up and he kisses her, and I like the fact that this changes it where he kisses her and nothing happens, like literally nothing happens because they met once, and that is a way that you can argue with the original movie, like these two characters meet once, fall in love. In this version, they might fall in love because at the end the prince is there with them at the fairy kingdom, whatever. But like, it's like Frozen, where like they do that thing where it's like, oh, you can't marry a guy you just met. Like whenever they do it in the original Disney movies, but in Frozen they say you can't do that. It's like this, where like the prince kisses her and it doesn't wake her up. Like that's not the love that needed to wake her. And I love the fact that Maleficent has to kiss her, like not on the lips, but like she kisses her just on the forehead. And that was her act of true love and compassion. And it was true love, and not in a romantic way, but true love as in they care so much for each other. And that was just such a great twist and a great difference between the original. Even though they're making fun of the original, like, again, a lot of these new Disney movies do. But I really like that. And then the battle with Maleficent and Stefan is great. And it's cool how the crow becomes the dragon, like, as opposed to Maleficent becoming the dragon. And the moment where she gets her wings is a really good moment. And that fight is great. And Stefan dies, and yeah, it does feel kind of good, but it's like, I wish I could have known more about him. But I did think that that was really great. And then overall, like, the ending is just awesome because like they kind of live happily ever after, where like they go to the fairy world and like they have their own world to rule, and it's Aurora's the princess. And I really thought that was a cool way of just ending it as opposed to being the same as the original, because this is not the same as the original besides a couple scenes. It is based around these characters in this story, but it's not the same. And again, a lot of people, like, I'm mixed on this movie as well, but a lot of people are mixed on it because it's not the same movie, and it's just, it does things that, I don't know, like for me, the fairies are the things that piss me off in this movie because they're so dumb and so awful. But everything else, for the most part, I really enjoy. But a lot of people are mixed on this, and I really have found a little more of a love rewatching it because it just, the way that I'm describing it, talking about it, is just really good and really, really emotional and really worthwhile in terms of like caring for these characters. and doing something different from the original. So I really, really like this on rewatch. So, and I feel like every time I rewatch this one might get better with each one rewatch because the first time I really didn't like it. Second time I liked it a little more, and this one I really enjoyed it this time. I think I've seen it 3 times. So this was a really good rewatch. I really did like a lot of things about this. Even though there's things I didn't like, I thought that this was a really, really great Disney reimagining, is the word I was thinking of the whole time throughout this review. A reimagining of, like, Maleficent. So I really did enjoy this on rewatch. So tell me down below what you think of the new movie Maleficent, not the original Sleeping Beauty. I reviewed Sleeping Beauty already, so check that out and tell me down below what you think of this movie Maleficent, and thank you guys so much for watching.